6:31 and Central Time, so we'll go ahead and get started. This is really cool. I'm so excited for. Oh, Keith, do you want to share your screen real quick? Go ahead and get that set up.
Yeah.
While I'm talking. So, guys, this is so much fun. I met Keith back in 2014 at the first MM8 conference here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He blew all of us away. He was doing some crazy numbers on Amazon, and just he told us about all these. I don't know. Did you tell us about all your credit card stuff at that first conference, or was that later on after we kind of got to know you at CESs and all that?
It was later on. We
Okay,
talked about. I talked with a few people, and it was really at that and some of the other earlier conferences when I started realizing that people, not everybody was getting the big picture on credit cards. I think it was Louisville had the big conversation, and yeah, that it was the CS in Louisville, I think, where it was like, okay, you got to write a book.
Yeah, I remember him talking to us and just blowing our minds, guys, with his knowledge about credit cards and leveraging his Amazon spending to travel for free. And so we were telling him, oh, you got to write a book. There's so many people out there that would love to have this knowledge, and it's so valuable. And it goes beyond Amazon sellers, really. But as Amazon sellers, we spend so much money on inventory, so it's easy to rack up points. But I don't want to try to get into it and explain it because he does a much better job. Real quick housekeeping stuff, guys. If there's a Q&A box or a Q&A button that if you can put questions in the Q&A, that will help out a lot so questions don't get buried. And then leave the chat for the back and forth stuff about Georgia and Alabama and all that. You can do that there. But the questions in the Q&A so they don't get buried. I don't want to miss anything. And for the most part, I think I want to leave most of the questions to the end, unless it's something that maybe it's a quick question that I want to interject and ask him. But for the most part, I don't like to interrupt guests while they're on a roll doing their presentation. So, Keith, I'll let you have at it. Thanks for being on here. It's an honor to have you, and I'm excited to hear this again.
Okay, great. Well, then I will get started.
Awesome.
So the topic is leveraging your Amazon spending to travel like a millionaire. And so just like Ryan said, we're going to talk about the spending you're already doing on Amazon for your things like buying inventory, whether you do retail arbitrage or wholesale like me or private label, whatever. You're having to spend money for that inventory that you sell on Amazon, and generally a lot of money on that. The better you do, the more you spend. So we're talking about just what you're already doing, no extra spending required. And we're talking about how to use that to leverage it to travel like a millionaire. And the focus here is on travel. So I'm not going to talk nice about using your points to get gift cards or
magazines.
Yeah, it is definitely focused on travel because that is where the real value is. I'm going to show you some examples of that. And I think I mentioned the last time that we did this, that I'm a big fan of Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week. And in that he talks about the NR, the new rich. The people who live like they're millionaires, even though they're not really millionaires. Because most of us, we don't really want $1 million. We want to live the lifestyle of a millionaire. We want what we think $1 million will buy us. And for me, that's traveling first class and staying in 5-star hotels, things like that I've been able to do. And I'm not a millionaire. And so that's what we're going to talk about. I feel like I'm getting close to living that Tim Ferriss new rich lifestyle. So let's get into it.
Awesome.
All right. So I started this about 4 or 5 years ago, and so this is the places I've been for free since. So you can tell that we like the Caribbean down there. We go there every year, fourth quarter, as a matter of fact, because right after Christmas, because fourth quarter is so busy for us. It's supposed to be holiday time for you to spend with your families. But, as Amazon sellers, it's the most busiest time of the year. And so we treat the family with the trip down to, we've been to Jamaica a couple of times. We've done a cruise. And for the past 2 years, we've gone to Aruba. And I just booked Aruba again for this next fourth quarter. So we'll leave right after Christmas and be there for New Year's. And we'll be staying in a 5-star hotel on the beach there, and we'll talk about that later on. We like to go to Europe in the summers. We just got back from Greece and Italy. The year before that, we did Scotland and England, went to Loch Ness, did not see Nessie. We got to see Stonehenge, though. A lot of neat things there. The first trip we took to Europe was my son's dream trip, and that was to Germany. And we did Germany very, very well. All these trips we usually stay 2 or 3 weeks for, so we can really kind of get ourselves immersed in the country. And so we went all over Germany for a couple of weeks there.
That's awesome.
So, who am I and how did I get into this? Well, first of all, I'm a nerd. And, you know, if you talk to me for any length of time, it becomes pretty apparent. One of those, the very first trip we did on Points was to go to a technology conference out in San Francisco because there were some robots and 3D printers that I really, really wanted to see. And so we went out there, and I found this definition a few years ago for a nerd that I really like, and so it's the one I like to use when I say that I'm a nerd. It's from Chris Hardwick, and it's someone with the unnatural ability to obsess and focus when others would be content with just letting it go. And that is me. I cannot let it go. I think I became a programmer because, you know, and a lot of us nerds kind of go into those professions like programming because, you know, it's something that you obsess with and you just can't let it go until you really figure it out and master it. And so that's a much better definition than what the kids in high school called nerds.
Right.
Then also, goes right with the nerd thing. I'm a senior research scientist as my full-time job for the University of Alabama in Huntsville. I'm an Amazon seller part-time.
Okay.
I pretty much since I started doing this, I've been $1 million Amazon seller. Really, my first full year going FBA, which is the same time I started this travel side gig, I guess you would call it. I make more money from my Amazon business than my full-time job, and I spend a whole lot less time on my Amazon business than I do my full-time work. Wow. And I'm a travel hacker. And this is where I have to explain what a travel hacker is. And because hacker sounds bad, but hacker, it's got a bad connotation nowadays. But, you know, it didn't start out that way. It's a golf term. It was people who taught themselves to play golf by just going out to the course with clubs and hacking away at the turf, at the ball. You know, it's someone that teaches themselves. And, you know, I was a computer hacker in the day because I taught myself. There was no one in the 1980s to teach you how to program a computer. Travel hacking, same thing. You know, it's not a bad thing. The best way I can describe it is tell you how I was introduced to the term. And this is the story that, and I love telling it, it's the story of the pudding guy. So the pudding guy was an engineer, which is just another word for nerd. And so the pudding guy went to get lunch one day, and he bought a Healthy Choice frozen dinner, which pretty much all us nerds eat for lunch is frozen dinners, usually pizza, but I guess he was on a diet this week. So he got a Healthy Choice, and he noticed on the box it said, send in the UPC from this box, and you'll get 100 airline miles, which, you know, the pudding guy was a pretty smart guy, and he said 100 miles, that's worth about $2, I guess. And Healthy Choice dinner's worth about $2. So it's an even swap. And if I'm smart with those miles, they could be worth a lot more than $2, maybe 10 times as much. And so most of us, though, we see an offer like that, box goes in the trash. None of us, you know, bother to fill that out. And it's just 100 points, 100 miles. And but the pudding guy did something that only a nerd would do. And he read the fine print. And the fine print said that you didn't have to just buy that frozen dinner, that you could send in the UPC from any Healthy Choice item and get 100 airline miles. So naturally, being a nerd and focusing and obsessing, the pudding guy went out to find the cheapest Healthy Choice product he could find with the UPC on it. And he wound up finding that you could get a 4-pack of Healthy Choice pudding at Costco for
Uh-huh.
99 cents. And each pudding in the 4-pack had its own UPC. So,
Oh,
so now he's paying $2 for 100 miles. He's paying $1 for 400 miles. So at this point, if you've ever done retail arbitrage, you know
uh-huh.
exactly what the pudding guy did. He went in and he cleaned the shelf of every single pudding cup in Costco, and then he
Uh-huh.
went to the next Costco in town and he cleaned it, and then he drove to the next town over and he cleaned them out, but he still couldn't let it go. So he managed to convince one of the Costco managers to
Uh-huh.
start ordering pudding uh, I believe by the pallet.
Oh my
He ordered
gosh.
10,000 cups of pudding, so I imagine it came on a pallet. Now, this was in 1999, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, a century ago. Think of that. So, so the manager got a little suspicious and asked, "Why do you need 10,000 cups of Healthy Choice pudding?" And the pudding guy said, "Well, I'm preparing for Y2K." Because in 1999,
That was
that
believable.
was totally believable. We did
Yeah,
everything to prepare for
that's
Y2K.
right.
So he got by with it. So
Oh
he
my
wound
gosh.
up getting millions of miles worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. He was a
Uh-huh.
very smart guy. One of the ways he redeemed those miles was he redeemed 1 million of them on American Airlines, which at the
Uh-huh.
time had a millionaire program where if you earned 1 million miles, you
Uh-huh.
got lifetime free upgrades to first class.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Oh my
so
gosh.
that was a very smart redemption. And the others he used for trips for his family to Europe. I don't know how many times. He is a legend. And when I read that story, it resonated with me. And it's like, okay, I got to find out more about this
That's
travel
awesome.
because there's more than just his story. There's a lot of other interesting ones.
Sure.
But that's how I kind of got involved in that community.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I'm also an entrepreneur, obviously, with the Amazon business. I've always had some sort of side business, and it usually involves something to do with computers. I One thing we did talk about, Ryan, back at the first MMA is
Uh-huh.
when I was doing online arbitrage. I was trying to buy these hard to find items at Christmas, and
Uh-huh.
you remember, I was annoyed that I'd get up in the morning or I'd be at work or something, they'd come in stock and I would miss out. So I wrote software that
That's
would
right.
blow up all of
Yes.
the websites, Toys R Us, and back
Uh-huh.
then FAO Schwartz and
Uh-huh.
Amazon itself and all these places. And when they came in stock, it would detect it and would go ahead and buy them for me.
That's awesome. I remember that.
Yeah. And I wrote software also
Uh-huh.
in the travel community. Wyndham Hotels had a program back in the day where they called
Mhm.
it the best rate guarantee. And
Uh-huh.
so their deal was if you could find a better rate on some other website like
Uh-huh.
Expedia,
Uh-huh.
cheaper than our rate on Wyndham.com, we'll give you your first night free. And there was no length of stay requirement. So if you were only staying one night, then your
Uh-huh.
whole stay is free. There was a stipulation that you couldn't book a Monday night and a Tuesday night back to back and then
Okay.
claim both and get two free.
Uh-huh.
But what you could do was you could book a Monday night and your wife could book a Tuesday
Tuesday.
night.
Oh my
And then you
gosh.
could book a Wednesday night, and then she could book the Thursday night, and you could string together trips, which we did
Oh my gosh.
into I think 10 days is about the longest we
Oh my
did.
gosh. And you had software that found lowered prices?
Exactly. There were blogs out there that,
Oh
people
my
would
God.
find them just searching manually. When
Yeah.
they found it, they'd post it. People, if it was a place they wanted to go, they would jump on it and match the price. Well, I wrote software that would constantly 24/7 look. You could go, when it worked, you went into my website, you put in the city you wanted to go and the general time frame you wanted to go.
Uh-huh.
Constantly 24/7 search Wyndham site, compare the price to all of their hotels in that area against I was using Kayak and
Uh-huh.
Hotels.com and Expedia back then, and
Uh-huh.
Travelocity, and it would check all of those. And as soon as it found an opportunity for you to get a free room, it sent you an email and said, "Go book this right now.
Uh-huh.
Call, and you'll get your room for free."
That's awesome.
Yes, it worked wonderful. It worked so well that as soon as it got popular, Wyndham shut down the program.
Oh my goodness. That's great.
And they shut it down, though, not really because they were losing rooms. Wyndham had a deal with their hotels that they signed a contract. It's kind of like a franchise
Uh-huh.
arrangement. They would not offer those rooms cheaper anywhere
Uh-huh.
else through Wyndham. So my software was just finding the ones that were kind of trying to cheat Wyndham. But they
That's
didn't
awesome.
mind that. What they minded was they only had 4 people working in the department that approved these,
Uh-huh.
and hundreds of people to
Wow.
get free rooms, and they just couldn't handle the volume.
Right. That's crazy.
So we only have 3 topics to talk about. So this is not too bad. We're going to talk about how you can earn as much as 30% or more in rewards on your Amazon purchases. When we were talking in Louisville, and I'm
Mhm.
asking people, about the credit cards, one of the things that came up a lot is, yeah, I'm doing great on Amazon, but I tell you, even if I didn't make a dime off Amazon, I would
Uh-huh.
keep doing it for the points.
Uh-huh.
And people would kind of look at me like, huh? Because I'm
Yeah.
getting points, but, it's not that great. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and, you get to talk to them, they're earning 2% cash back or maybe 5% on some purchases, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell that they were really doing things differently than me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so we're going to talk about how to maximize your points on redemptions because earning them is only half of it. The other half
Mm-hmm.
is you want to make sure you maximize them when you redeem them.
Okay.
We're going to talk about how you don't want to redeem them.
Awesome.
All right. So this is a slide I did. This is out of date, but
Uh-huh.
these numbers for the most part have all gone up. This is about half of my accounts. Um, so at this point, I had uh, just over 500,000 in Chase Ultimate Rewards, and my wife had just under 100,000 in Chase Ultimate Rewards. Together combined, we're over 1 million on those right now.
Mm.
And it says those points are worth, a little over a penny a piece. But in a little bit, I'm going to show you where every time I've redeemed those, I've gotten 10 cents value for each one.
Mm.
So instead of having, 6,000 or 10,000 in value, it's more like 60,000 or 100,000 in value,
Wow.
depending on how you redeem those things.
Okay.
American Airlines, 662,000 for me. My wife is a little bit lower at 229. Obviously, a lot of points spread around here.
Uh-huh.
All right, this is how I spent June. I went to 4 new countries: Belgium, Italy, Malta, and Greece, all on points. We were gone 21 days. We hit about a dozen cities, first class all the way. Flew over first class, 5-star hotels,
Mm-hmm.
house suites with a butler, and we even stayed in one former palace in Venice.
Wow.
And that was pretty neat. That was actually an Airbnb,
Uh-huh.
and yes, I figured out a way to pay for Airbnb in points too.
Oh my gosh.
Well, wasn't as good as redemption as some of the others, but
Uh-huh.
at least I didn't have to pay out of pocket for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I've booked 3 more trips since then, including going back to Aruba this New Year's Eve, and I'm,
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to show you where we're staying there. And I've applied for 6 new cards, some of them in preparation for that trip. I did some just to pay for that Airbnb,
Uh-huh.
and I said I'll probably do 6 more in July. I think I've already done 3 in July,
Okay.
something like that. So this is my strategy in a single slide. It's really simple. You apply for a card with a bonus. I suggest if you're married, you do it, your spouse, and your business. That's 3 cards. You meet the spending requirements and you collect the bonus on that card. You cancel the card. Usually I wait a year and that's about the time the fee comes due, and I'll cancel the card. And then I go back to step 1. I apply for the card with a bonus. I get it for me, my spouse, and my business.
That's
Meet
awesome.
the spending requirements. I collect the bonus, I cancel the card, I wash, rinse, and repeat. And I do this over and over. I chose the Alaskan Airlines miles card here as an example because it's been the most churnable card. It's a legend in itself in the travel hacking community. I've read stories of people getting 6 of these cards all in a single day, all on their neck. Just
Oh my
one
gosh.
person, just apply, 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 all of them approved.
Wow.
I have a coworker that gets one per month.
Okay.
I've read a
Wow.
guy that had 50 something of them, I
Man.
believe active all at the same time.
50.
It's
Does
just
this mean
sitting
they're
there.
always do they always have the bonuses then?
Yes, the
Okay.
typical bonus on these cards is 50,000 Alaskan airline miles.
Mm-hmm.
And occasionally they'll do things like throw in some companion or upgrade certificates. I don't remember which, but every now and then they'll even up it.
Okay.
Uh, the catch is that they don't waive the yearly fee, so it's like $89.
Okay.
But 50,000 airline miles,
Oh yeah.
this is Alaskan. I know it's Alaska. You don't want to go there that often. It might be fun once, but it gets cold up there. But
Right.
all these airlines have arrangements with other partner airlines, and one of Alaska's partners is Hawaiian.
Yep.
And it actually takes less Alaskan miles to fly to Hawaii than it does Hawaiian miles.
Mm.
So if you want to go to
Wow.
Hawaii, get the Alaskan card.
That's awesome. That tip right there is worth being on this webinar.
Yeah.
Just that one slide right there. You could like if anybody has to leave, now you got your whole strategy right there in one slide. Sweet.
I will say Alaskans tightened it up a little bit now. You can't get 6 in one day. They do make you space them out a month, and that's why
Uh-huh.
my coworkers only getting 1 per month. So that's 12 a year. And what is that, like 600,000 miles? Is that
Wow.
right? Yeah,
That's
50,000.
crazy.
That's assuming she's not getting them for her husband too. Um, and now the redemptions. Think big on your redemptions. The title of the slide was Amazing Travel. So I'm not talking about going to the beach, or going to Disney World or something like that. I'm talking the big trips that I know I never dreamed I'd be able to take my family on these kind of trips. It's been amazing. And the smart redemptions are things like first and business class on these intercontinental flights to Europe. Those flights are extremely expensive if you pay for them in cash, but they are so worth it if you've ever been on a plane for 10 or 12 hours in coach. They're absolutely worth every penny, but nobody can afford that. On points, they're very reasonable, especially if you're an Amazon seller.
Mm-hmm.
You get advantages with using points like open jaw and stopovers. Uh, just open jaw simply means that you can fly into one city and fly out of another, which we've done pretty much every single time. It's great if you want to tour a whole country like we do. So we flew into southern Germany and we flew
Mm-hmm.
out of northern Germany. So if you booked that ticket with dollars, they charge you extra for that. But on points, it's the same price. Stopovers, it's considered like a long layover. You can, instead of having like a 2-hour layover in London, you could have a 5-day layover in London. And so you can use one award ticket and hit multiple cities off that ticket, all for the same price as if you just went to London and back.
Mm.
There's some techniques to it. It needs to be a real itinerary. You can't just zip all over the world. But, if you're going to Germany, generally you're probably going to stop in London on the way there. Most of the flights from the U.S., go through either London or Paris, so you can have a stopover. Again, all on one ticket. I do know of one guy who managed to stretch a 51-day trip out.
51.
51 days on one ticket.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, using stopovers, and the whole thing was first class. And
Wow.
and get this, he used Alaskan airline miles that he transferred to another airline. I can't remember which one it was now to do that. And special event hotel reservations. Since someone has already brought up the SEC football, and if you're like me and your favorite college team plays in a national championship almost every single year, then there's that the hotels at these events like that, the price skyrockets. So just for a home game for Alabama, a normal hotel that's like $90 during the year will shoot up to 500 or 1,000 for a game, for a big game night. But the points don't change. The points are the same based on the hotel category. So you can get some great bargains by booking these things on points instead of paying dollars. I'm going to be in Atlanta on Labor Day weekend. So you've got Alabama versus Florida State going on in Atlanta, which you might think that's why I'm going to be there. But no, there's also this huge science fiction convention going on. And that's where I'll be.
Right.
And, because of those two events, the hotels are outrageous. But I'm staying on points. Hotels that normally, would cost, reasonable amount are hundreds of dollars that weekend. And I'm able to get them reasonably on points because the points don't go up for those holidays and special events. And then resort hotels, Atlantis, the Aruba. I've actually managed to stay at all inclusives on points where all my meals and drinks were also included. And downtown hotels, they're usually very expensive if you're going to a big city. But we've stayed in Times Square and London, places like that. So there's some of the best redemptions are some of the more expensive hotels. Now the sucker redemptions, and they really are in comparison. Magazine subscriptions. I put this one in because I did this when I was in my 20s and stupid. I had a few thousand American airline miles, and I thought, there's no way, Keith, in your lifetime you're ever going to earn enough miles for a free ticket. You just don't travel enough. It's never going to happen. So they sent me an offer. Hey, why don't you trade these in for a 2-year subscription? And at the time, I thought a 2-year subscription to Playboy was the best use I would ever get out of those miles. and I'm kidding, right? It's science, maybe Macworld. I'm not sure. It's probably Macworld. And then purchasing with points. You go to Amazon, these other stores, they've been really great the past few years. Hey, instead of paying with dollars, you've got points on this credit card with us. Why don't you pay with points? They make it real easy. They make it real easy because it's a sucker move. You're getting terrible return on those points. You're getting maybe a penny a point. I've seen sometimes less than a penny a point. That's not a good redemption. Gift cards. Gift cards have the same problem as with buying points too. Besides the fact that you're not getting a very good redemption on those gift cards, you're cheating yourself out of the points you would earn on that purchase if you had used a credit card that gave you points back. So they're a double whammy with purchasing with points and gift cards. Statement credits are a little bit better, but again, I rarely see any of those that even equal a penny a point. And then cheap flights. You don't want to use 25,000 miles for a $300 ticket when you can use 50,000 miles for a $4,000 ticket. You want to make sure that you get your value on those first-class flights to Europe are some of the best.
Cool. Quick question on the purchasing with points. So Amazon has a 5% cashback card. Does that can that be transferred to other things? That money?
Yeah, it's interesting. That is from Chase, and as a matter of fact, Amazon is the #1 client for credit cards for Chase. More people have Amazon credit cards than any of the other Chase credit cards they offer. They're #1 with them. And Chase has one of the best points programs out there called Chase Ultimate Rewards, but unfortunately, the Amazon points are not part of that program. So about the best you're going to get on those is a penny a point. But 5% isn't bad. Now, I'll tell you that up until this past year, Citibank had a card called the Forward Card that was originally for college students. And it gave you 5 thank you points, which are similar to the Ultimate Reward points that Chase does. They were worth close to 2 cents a piece. And they gave you 5 points for restaurants, bookstores,
Hmm.
and I forget what the third category was. There was three categories. Well, Amazon is a bookstore. As far as
Okay.
Citibank is concerned, Amazon is a
Oh,
bookstore.
cool.
So everything I bought at Amazon for
Uh-huh.
about 10 years, I
Uh-huh.
got 5 thank you points, so roughly about 10%
Wow.
back on. So if you buy a big screen TV at
Hmm.
Amazon,
Hmm.
that's a book as far as Citibank was concerned.
That's a
I
very
milked,
expensive book.
yes, I milked that sucker for about a decade, and
Uh-huh.
we finally sent a letter last year saying, we're going to cut that down. We're only going to give you 2 points. I think it's down to
All
2 points.
right. Oh man.
These are just some pictures I did of first class on some of the airlines. I believe this next one coming up, the guy
Uh-huh.
that did the 51 thing, I believe this is the airline that he redeemed those Alaskan points on. I'm
Wow.
not certain of that. Yeah. Now I've had some nice flights, but not we haven't made it to one of these airlines yet. We came back, on United
Hmm.
first class, so at least they didn't beat us up and throw us off the plane. It was it was actually pretty nice. It was
Uh-huh.
actually pretty nice in first class on United. They give you a mattress, and
Uh-huh.
I was supposed to have gotten pajamas.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I forget they forgot to bring them to me, but it was pretty nice. We had filet mignon for our meal,
Uh-huh.
and they came brought by with an ice cream sundae bar, I think,
Oh,
and
cool.
yeah, it's nice. It wasn't quite this nice, but
Right.
we loved it. So speaking of United, so here's an example. When I told you about 20 to 30% return on your spending.
Hmm.
So here's an example here of a ticket to Rome. This is probably when I was planning our trip that I made
Hmm.
this screenshot. So it's 70,000. If you can see it up, can you see
Yep.
my mouse if I
Uh-huh.
put it up here?
Yep,
Okay, good.
absolutely.
So it's 70,000 miles to pay for this ticket. That's the 6:37 arriving at 8:45 from Huntsville, where I live, to Rome, Italy. So same ticket right down here. You can pay for that. The first class price is $7,166.
Mm.
So 70,000 miles
Uh-huh.
for $7,000.
Mm.
Like I said, this is a pretty good value.
Hmm.
Um, so how do you get 70,000 United miles, though, of course? Well, this offer is live right now. It ends July 31st. 70,000 miles when you spend 3,000 on purchases in your first 3 months from the
Wow.
time it's open. So, if you have an Amazon business, that's $1,000 a month.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah. And so you're spending $3,000 and you're getting a ticket in that example worth $7,000.
My
So
goodness.
that's a bit more than the 30% I promised. Um,
That's
that's
cool. And
more
also
than,
it says, are you a business owner? So you could do your spouse, and your business.
exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Exactly. Yeah. Because with me, we're a family of three, so I need to do all three so we can all go.
That's cool.
Um, it's not just the airlines. The hotels have some pretty good deals. This is a pretty standard offer for Marriott, and I did this offer all in one day. I got a card for me, myself, and my business all on the same day. Um, when it's all said and done, and you make your spending and everything, I had to spend about $9,000 spread over 3 or 4 months. That's the typical offer is
Uh-huh.
going to be require about $3,000 spend spread over 3 or 4 months. So
Uh-huh.
it's a very typical offer here. So about $9,000 spend spread out, and I'm going to wind up with, or did wind up with a little less than 300,000 Marriott points. So
Wow.
what can you do with 280,000 or so Marriott points? There's actually a lot, but I just picked out one example. Marriott owns the Atlantis Resort Water Park and Casino in the Bahamas.
Okay.
Uh, you can stay there 10 days for 280,000 points.
Man.
And one reason I chose 10 days on that is almost all of these hotels have a deal. If you redeem points,
Uh-huh.
your fifth night's free. So
Okay.
by doing this, two of those nights are actually free. So
Wow.
you're only even having to spend the points on 8 days to get those 10 days.
Oh my gosh.
And that was just one day. applying for 3 cards in one day, 10
Mm-hmm.
days in Atlantis.
That's awesome.
Here's another one. And this is where I'm going. So this is the Hyatt card. They just changed this, so I updated my slide today. Their current bonus is 40,000 points
Mm-hmm.
for getting the card, and I want to say that's 1,000 in spend that they require, so it's a little bit less spending than some of the others.
Mm-hmm.
So Aruba at Christmas is pretty expensive.
Uh-huh.
So here are the dates that I picked an example here. So
Okay.
it's 25,000 points a night.
Uh-huh.
Um, or I can pay $926 a night for the exact same room.
Mm.
So in this case, so 40,000, by the time you do some spending on that card, let's round it up to 50 to make it easier for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to get you just right at 2 nights.
Mm-hmm.
So that one card will get you, a couple of nights in Aruba,
Okay.
which is great. It's a great value.
Yeah.
But who wants to fly all the way to Aruba for 2 nights? So how can we extend that stay? If you look over here, they also offer points in cash. So
Okay.
if you can read that, it says points in cash, 12,500 points plus $150 in cash. So you could redeem the, say again, 50,000 points for 4 nights and pay $150 each night in cash. So now you're paying $600 out of pocket,
Mm-hmm.
but you're getting $4,000 in hotel rooms and 1 credit card application.
My goodness.
That's a pretty good redemption.
That is really good.
Again, it's a lot more than the 30% I promised at the beginning.
Man.
So there's other ways of doing it though too. So let's say we get the current offer for Chase. This may be correct. It may be 45,000 points. I'll have to double check. Like I said,
Okay.
it changed. So it's either
Uh-huh.
40 or 45.
Okay.
And it's 2,000 in spend.
Mm-hmm.
I was wrong. It was 2,000, not 1,000. So you can get that card, but you can also get the Chase Inc. Business.
Mm-hmm.
This is offering 80,000 Chase Ultimate Reward points that we talked about earlier. It's 5,000 in spend. Those 80,000 points are pretty sweet because they can be used a lot of different ways. You can use them to redeem for travel, which sometimes makes sense, but the really best ways to use those are to transfer them to the partners. And they transfer 1-to-1 to a couple of interesting places.
Mm-hmm.
One is United Airlines.
Mm-hmm.
So that 80K would also get you a first class ticket over on United if you transfer them to that. But they also transfer to Hyatt 1-to-1.
Okay.
So that 80,000 points from that one credit card could become 80,000 Hyatt points. So you get those 2 cards together, you add the 80 to the 45, and now you got enough for a full week off two credit cards. And that's assuming that you are getting these cards. If you and your spouse get these cards, then you're doubling that. You can either stay 2 weeks or you're all set for next year too. So yeah, this is just laying that out. 125 points. I think I probably just didn't update that slide at 5 nights. So that's $7,000 in spend combined between the cards. It's $2,000 for the Hyatt, $5,000 for the Chase. And so 7,000 spend gets you 5,000 in tax-free travel. It's a 70% return. Again, better than the 30 I promised. And if you use that option with the cash and points, you'd pay $1,500 out of pocket, but your return on those points would actually be 110% return. So your choice, 5 nights and it'd be totally free, or pay an extra $1,500 for 10 nights. You actually get a little bit better value out of your points that way.
Awesome.
So not all offers are equal. I know we're talking to Amazon sellers, so you're probably familiar with split testing. Probably, I bet you've done webinars on split testing, haven't you?
Oh, we've definitely talked about it in some of the webinars. Yes.
Yeah. So the credit card companies do that too. So I pulled these up on the exact same day. So this was a 50,000 point offer for the Hilton Honors card. And Also, if you had the different link, you could get 100,000. So
Wow.
which do you want, 50,000 or the 100,000? So, some of the strategies to this is, you got to know the links. A lot of these links are basically hidden
Okay.
because of the way that they do the split testing. Anybody can apply, but not everybody gets the link. So,
Mm,
luckily there's some smart travel hackers that will share some of these with you, like me.
like you. That's right. You're the smart
Uh,
travel hacker.
oh, I have a typo. Oh no. Back to that Chase Inc. card offer.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let's look at that a little bit closer. So it's
Uh-huh.
80,000 bonus points. This is probably, my opinion right now, it's the best offer you can get. A lot of people ask me, what card should I get when I've kind of built this reputation as the credit card guy. People
Uh-huh.
will hunt me down at CES and say, I hear you're the credit card guy.
Yep.
First question they ask, what card should I get? And my answer is always all of them. And
Yep.
they don't know how to respond to that. But if I were telling you what would be the first card I would get when I was getting
Uh-huh.
into this right now, today, I think it would be this card because 80,000 points is quite a bit of value. I mean, depending on how you redeem that, if
Mm-hmm.
that's a first class ticket or a not a resort stay,
Mm-hmm.
that can be significant
Mm-hmm.
value off that. But look at the fine print on it. This is interesting. So if you're using this card, you get 3 points per dollar for the first $150,000 spent in combined purchases on travel. We won't really be spending any on travel because we do that for free.
Mm-hmm.
Shipping purchases,
Mm,
if you're not doing FBA and you're doing your own shipping, that could be significant.
mm-hmm.
Internet, we're all e-commerce people, so we spend money on internet.
Mm-hmm.
Cable and phone services, which everybody spends money on, and advertising purchases made with social media sites and search engines, each account anniversary year.
Okay.
And it doesn't say it here, but if you read the fine print further, it specifically mentions Facebook ads.
Oh wow.
So, Brett Bartlett has a
Uh-huh.
pretty good program out there,
Yeah.
really relying on Facebook ads.
Yeah.
3 points, which I showed earlier, you can get a value of 10 cents per point on those Chase points. That's pretty good value off your Facebook ads
Yeah.
and I could see us all spending a lot of money on Facebook ads over the next year based on
Sure.
what I've seen from Brett. Credit card combos. It's real simple. There's some cards like what I just showed you there. Some are great for earning points, and some are great for redeeming the points. So
Mm-hmm.
you want both. So there are the family of cards, like the
Mm-hmm.
Chase Freedom Ultimate, and the Chase Inc. Business that I just showed you. So
Mm-hmm.
the Chase Freedom, you can earn 5 points in rotating categories using that card, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a no annual fee card. Everybody should have that card. There's no excuse not to. It Every year the rotating bonus. Right now it's restaurants, but
Okay.
every year fourth quarter it's Amazon. I've never known it not to be. I don't think.
Wow.
If you're doing online arbitrage, buying on Amazon, flipping back to Amazon, those 5 points are way better than the Amazon card.
Mm-hmm.
The Chase Freedom Ultimate gives you 1.5 points on any purchase,
Okay.
which if you're a wholesaler like me, your purchases don't fit any of those categories, although sometimes they do. I
Mm-hmm.
sell groceries, and sometimes the groceries will code as a grocery purchase.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, and sometimes they'll even, depending on what I'm buying, they may even code as a restaurant purchase. So you need to watch that on your credit cards, make sure you're picking the right one to put
Mm-hmm.
those wholesale purchases on. And then, of course, the Chase Inc. Business. And then it's not on the list, but really the Chase Inc. Sapphire card, which came out after I made this slide originally, I should have added it to this. It's a great one when you go to redeem them because it'll give you a 50% bonus on all those points when you go to redeem them. So that's an excellent one. And I'm about to write an article for my website
Mm-hmm.
on doing a very similar thing with the American Express Platinum and Platinum Business Plus, which is a brand new card that just came out. It was one of the ones I got after I got back from Europe, which is one of the three I've got this month. I'm working out a strategy where you can get some really good return with that combination.
Awesome.
So, what's in my wallet? I get asked this all the time. So, this is the first time I've ever been able to do this. Even in Dallas, I couldn't show you all this. So, let me. Whoa. Okay. So here's my wallet.
Okay, you might want to stop if you're going to do that. It's going to be stop sharing your screen for a second because right now you're in a little small box.
Okay.
And you can stop sharing your screen and then reshare it again.
All right. Give me a second.
People will be able to see it.
Give me a second to find that little. There it is.
No problem.
3 monitors gets confused.
That's right.
Stop share. There we go. Is that better?
Yep, that works good.
So this is my walking around wallet. So this is the cards that I feel like I need with me all the time.
Okay.
Very little bit of cash. Try to avoid that at all times. This is more my travel wallet.
Oh my goodness.
These are the cards I think I might need. You know, I keep it near me, but not in my pocket for obvious reasons.
Okay.
But it's never far from me.
Right.
Now, this is what I've never been able to show anyone before. Oh,
exclusively on this webinar.
Yeah, I got a couple of things. So this is how I used to try to arrange them. These, you know, don't bother trying to get the numbers off these. These are all expired. This was when I first got started. This just couldn't cut it.
Okay.
But this is where old credit cards go to die.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Those are all the ones that are canceled?
These haven't made it to the shredder yet. Yeah. It's a lot of cards. I know when I show all these, people are going to say, well, what about your credit rating? I cover that.
That's one of the questions that we have. Can you hit that real quick?
Yeah, I'll hit it real quick because right before this thing hit, and I hope I can do this without giving away. How many people are watching this?
We have 44 right now.
Okay. Well, I hope I'm not about to give my login to Capital One out to 44 people, but I got an email with a notice that my credit score had changed, and I just got 3 credit cards this month and 6 last month. So I expect it to go down, and anyway, but I clicked on it and I still left it open. So I'm gonna turn the screen share back on.
Sure.
And I think I can do it without you guys seeing my password. Maybe I should log in first.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm recording this too, and so it's gonna, like, for people that miss this, they're gonna watch the recording, so it'll be a lot more than 44 that see it.
There we go. So I'm logging in first.
Okay, perfect.
Let's see, which screen is this on? Yeah, I think this is it. Are you seeing it?
Not yet.
Oh, because I didn't click share screen. Is that the right one?
Yep, I see the score.
Okay.
Holy cow! Wow.
Counter-tapping. So, yeah. So I'm at 823 out of 850. That's a pretty good score.
Dang. Yeah, it is.
In the book, I show my score over time.
Okay.
That when I hit a bunch of cards back in March, and part of this is impacted too. My credit score will always go down around fourth quarter up until March till it recovers because I'm buying so much. And so that's one of the reasons. I talk about in great detail how credit card scores are computed in the book. And the general thing to keep in mind on your credit card is the banks, they evaluate it essentially the same way you would. If you asked me to borrow money, Ryan, or if I asked to borrow money from you, what were you going to say? You're going to say, well, how well do I know Keith? Have I known him for a while? Has he done business with me before? Has he borrowed money from me before? If he has, did he pay me back, and did he pay me back on time?
Yep.
If he hasn't, I'm gonna ask other people we know. Has he borrowed money from you? Did he pay you back on time? That's the things that they care about. The number one, and I'm not gonna scroll down because we'll probably give out too much personal information. But you can see here, on-time payments, excellent. That's the most important thing you can do for your credit score. If you do that, it's really hard for you to screw anything else up on your credit score. What
Hmm.
you'll see, and what I have in the book, is my credit score over the course of, I think, a year.
Okay.
And you'll see that every time I get a bunch of cards, it'll drop a few points.
Hmm.
And then about a month or two later, it goes up, and it's up higher than it was before I got the cards.
Hmm.
And then it drops again because you can tell I got more cards. Then it goes up a little bit higher. I started out in the 700s
Okay.
when I started doing this, and
Uh-huh.
I built my credit score over time with this.
Wow.
Again, it's there's a bit more to it than that, and I've got pie charts and all sorts of things in the book. If you're a nerd, you will love it.
You will love it. That's
Yeah.
right. Awesome. Cool. Back to, you want to go back to the screen
Yes.
or the
Yes.
PowerPoint real quick?
Back to the PowerPoint. Let's see.
This is awesome. Guys, I think this is probably the third or fourth time I've seen this, and it doesn't get old. So tell us about the book, Keith, and what comes with that.
Okay, so the book is something that people have been telling me to do for since that CES in Louisville, and I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna write a book, and it was a long time coming. And I actually started writing the book, I think, coming back from Germany,
Uh-huh.
and I wrote it very haphazardly. I would write chat. I did an outline, but then I would just pick something I wanted to write about. And when I had free time between Amazon and my full-time job, I
Uh-huh.
would write a chapter really quick. And so it did take a long time to write the book, but I did
Hmm.
finally finish it. There's actually a picture in the book of me writing the last chapter in Aruba this
Uh-huh.
past New Year's, and then it's still taking me this long to get it out.
Wow.
So, I'm nervous. I've never written a book before, so this was my first shot at it. But I'm finally, got up the courage to follow it all the way through. And thank you, Ryan, and the other
You're
internet
welcome, of
guys for
course.
encouraging me on that.
Yeah.
And so, for an introductory rate here, marked it down for Ryan and these guys to $29.99. If you use his link down here, that'll get you the book.
I posted it in the chat, guys. Posted that link. You just click on it in the link.
And 30-day money back guarantee. If you're not 100% satisfied, just let me know. I am the easiest guy to deal with ever. If you're not happy, I will make sure that you either get your money back or I make you happy. So
That's right. Well, that's what we do around here too. That's awesome. So does that include, like, we were talking earlier, or in Dallas, you access to your group for?
no, the group is separate,
Okay.
but it's only $1. I wanted to do it free, but the
Okay.
software I'm using, only I had to put a price for
Hmm.
the first month, so it's only $1 for the first month.
Okay.
Into what I'm calling my VIP club, and
Okay.
part of that is a Facebook group where I've been posting bonus chapters.
Uh-huh.
I'm about to write up on the American Express membership rewards. Will go there.
Hmm.
I'll be there later this week. I posted a special link for the IHG card. The normal link gets you 80,000 points.
Uh-huh.
I had I call them secret links, but it was a split test link essentially for 100,000 points, which is the highest I think that card's ever had for a bonus. It was
Wow.
a great
Oh
deal.
my gosh.
And then just flat out airfare deals. I have never in my life seen such low prices on airfare. For domestic flights right now, it's almost crazy to use points when they're so cheap.
Hmm.
Save the points for those big trips to Europe. When you can fly across country for $200, $300, $400,
Wow.
do that. And I've
Absolutely.
posted a ton in there. I think that you have access now, and this is all very new, but I think I
Uh-huh.
gave you access earlier this week if you've been in there. So you've seen Puerto Rico today. I
Uh-huh.
posted a fare in there for, depending on your city, as low as $170 round trip to Puerto Rico. And
Wow.
I think the highest was maybe 400, and that's pretty good. And it was during the winter, when some of the cities were Boston and Cleveland, and if I lived up north like that, I
Uh-huh.
would get a chance to fly to Puerto Rico in January for a week or so.
Absolutely. So, your blog, is that that's the same thing as the Facebook group?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm just answering Lori's question. Just wanted to be certain. Cool. So, guys, it's once you get into this, I mean, the book is awesome. You're going to learn a ton from the book, but you're going to have questions. And so, the Facebook group that he has is a place to get just updates. Because these stuff, every time I talk to him, there's something different. There's a new rule that comes out, and so he's up on top of this kind of stuff. It's impossible. Unless you have the time to really dig into this and know everything, all the offers that are coming out, these secret links. He's learned so much in the time that he's doing this, and so having access to that group is has an enormous value to it, because there's just way more advanced stuff that he mentioned, that he talks about in that program. But grab the book; it's only $29.99. Thanks for letting me do that for my audience. I appreciate that. It's really cool.
Oh yeah, we may hit some of these questions here.
Yeah, let's absolutely do that. Do you want me to read them off to you, or are you seeing
I
them?
I got it pulled up.
Go ahead. I'll let you hit them. Whatever you want to answer first.
Okay, well, I'll go in order. I don't know if
Perfect.
they were asked or not.
Yeah,
but,
so the top one, Marcia, is the first one. That's
okay,
correct.
good. That's the one I got. Okay, so if you cancel a card a week before the yearly fee is due, then how long do you wait before you apply again? Guess there's nothing to do to eliminate the fee when they charge on the first billing. Yeah, if they charge on the first billing, it's almost impossible to get that. It's not impossible, but it's almost impossible to get that waived.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of times when you call to cancel the card, they'll
Mm-hmm.
make you an offer to keep it,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you've been a good customer. And that's one thing to also consider. We are great customers for these credit card companies. They love us. If you're putting all your spending on credit cards, and again, I don't take terms. Well, typically I don't take terms with my wholesale suppliers. If I do, every one of my suppliers will give me something like 90-day terms that when the 90 days are up, I can put on a credit card.
Wow.
And so
you get 120.
Yeah, think about it. If you're doing retail arbitrage,
that's huge.
Yeah, if you're doing retail arbitrage and you go to Walmart and you buy up a bunch of stuff, you put it on a credit card.
Right.
The credit card company is getting a 3% fee for processing that transaction. You throw it up on Amazon, and someone else buys it, and they use a credit card, they're getting another 3% fee.
Yep.
You know, arbitrage is brilliant for the banks. They're double dipping on every item sold through arbitrage is a double dip for the credit card company.
That's awesome.
But anyway, to answer the question, it really depends. Everybody has every bank has their own rules, and so and they go from really restrictive, is what I would call chases, to some really loose ones like Alaska.
Okay.
And so it really depends. And I go through those in the book. I'm going to be updating some on my website because they change, fairly often. And so again, it's just like the offers. This is a very dynamic thing. Yep. So the rules change. The offers change. It's constantly something that you stay on top of.
Cool.
So it really depends, to answer your question. I don't have a great answer on that. If it were Alaska, I wouldn't even wait for it to expire before I got the other card.
Yeah.
I think Citibank has the most complicated, and I won't even go in to try to explain it. It's actually not that bad, but they just made the rules really complicated. And let's see, do you ever find cards with a yearly fee charged immediately that are worth paying the fee? Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. Almost every hotel card I keep because it's worth paying the fee. For example, the Marriott card. Here's a better example. The IHG card, the one I mentioned that's got 100,000 bonus, or did last week. I'm not sure if that's still live or not. There's $100,000 bonus, great bonus. You get 1 point per dollar. That's in the box, actually. It doesn't even make this wallet. I will never put a charge on that card because the points for purchases aren't that great. But I'll
Mm-hmm.
definitely get it for the bonus, and then I keep the card because every year on your anniversary, you
Mm-hmm.
pay the $49 fee and
Mm-hmm.
you get a certificate for a free night at any IHG property. And I'm throwing out this name, IHG. I bet a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the people watching don't know what IHG is, but you're probably familiar with one of their brands. It's Holiday Inn.
Mm-hmm.
So IHG is the parent company of Holiday Inn, and they're also the parent company of Crown Plaza, and they're the parent company of Intercontinental. Those last two are some really nice hotels, and so that certificate is good at any of those.
Nice.
I used it at the all-inclusive Holiday Inn on the beach in Jamaica.
Awesome.
I used it at that Crown Plaza in New York, and that was a wonderful trip that we just took at the last minute, and we wound up with a suite. We booked it one day before we left, and we
Wow.
got airfare for free,
Uh-huh.
and we got a suite in the Crown Plaza overlooking Times Square. That was the trip where we noticed the second day there they were putting up scaffolding
Uh-huh.
right in front of our hotel. And so we're like, I wonder what's going on. So we go out and tour New York, do the typical stuff,
Uh-huh.
and we get back and they finish the scaffolding and people are starting to gather and there's paparazzi. And so, you see a crowd, you of course join the crowd. And it turns out it was the red carpet premiere for the Mission Impossible movie.
Oh,
And
cool.
so here comes J.J. Abrams and Alec Baldwin and
Uh-huh.
Tom Cruise.
Uh-huh.
And so I've attended a red carpet premiere just by pure luck and thanks to
That's
points.
awesome.
Um,
Wow.
so yeah, the hotel, almost all of the hotel cards offer that.
Uh-huh.
Not all of them are as generous as IHG that lets you pick any hotel. Because I mean, there's some IHG properties that go for $1,500 a night or so,
Uh-huh.
$49 for 1,500. Yeah, that's a great deal. The others like Marriott, they put a limit on them.
Okay.
That's still my Marriott cards, and I think they're around. They're all certainly they're not real expensive cards. They're
Mm-hmm.
50 to 100.
Okay.
Uh, I redeemed those for rooms worth $350.
Oh, yeah. My goodness.
So you can get great value off those. So yes, I do
Cool.
always keep those.
Okay.
So the Syndicate are the Saver Awards, one-way, correct. Yeah, that was a one-way Saver Award because I typically do the one-ways because they're easier to find and
Uh-huh.
because I have points in a lot of points in American and Delta and United.
Uh-huh.
It's easy for me to fly over on one airline and fly back on the other. Again, that
Okay.
would be really expensive if you paid for it, but on
Mm-hmm.
points it works out. So yeah, I will typically book those first class in the Saver Awards one way, each way.
Uh-huh.
I've done that almost every single trip to Europe. There was only one that I didn't do that on. I just got approved for Capital One business card with 1.5% cash back. I plan to use this for wholesale and other guaranteed returns. Should I think about getting the airline miles one? Yeah, there are much better offers than that. There's another Capital One. Depending on how much you're spending,
Uh-huh.
the Capital One Spark, and there's two versions. I think you got the one with no annual fee.
Okay.
It's 1.5, but the Spark for just a small fee, you get 2% back.
Uh-huh.
Again, though, I'm really going for the 20, 30, 100% back. The 1.5%, and I will put stuff on the 2% Spark card a lot. If I'm not working on a bonus, then I do want to at least get 2% value off my charges. And there are times when I'm spending more money on Amazon, especially fourth quarter, than I can't get enough credit cards
Mm-hmm.
to work through the bonus on those. But yeah, you should always shoot for at least 2% back on any purchase you make. That should be your bare minimum.
Okay. It's good.
Um,
Good to know.
Would like to get another Chase Southwest card to qualify for the companion ticket. Oh, there was a great deal on those companion tickets earlier this year. Oh, you got the email for the 100,000 points. You've got the special link. Yeah, so Chase's 524 rule. Like I said, I go into this in great details on
in the book?
In the book, yeah.
Okay, cool.
And this would be a great question to ask me in the forum too. This is the kind of things I may have to sit down and think about for a while to give you the best answer.
Okay,
But you do
perfect.
want to be in the book. I recommend that your first 5 cards be chase cards because of that 524 rule. Let me see if I can read these details and give you the best answer I can on the spur of the moment. 6 cards in less than 6 months. Yeah. It depends on what those other 6 cards are. If any of those are American Express business cards, they don't count towards the 524 rule. So it really depends on what cards you got, Marcia.
Oh, real quick. Okay,
So,
I can interject and answer that for you because she had another post before.
oh, okay.
And so I just I marked it as answered live because she kind of just emphasized it or whatever. So her other cards are two business ink, and two business and ink, and a Southwest card, and two personal, Chase Freedom Unlimited, and a Sapphire.
So you're going right by the book. You're sticking with all the chase cards. Yeah, so those are going to count toward the 524. Here's the thing. I don't think IHG falls under the 524 rule. The Chase's 524 rule does not apply to all their cards.
Okay.
In general, it mostly only applies to the non-partnered cards. So like the Chase Ink, it's just a Chase card. The Chase Ultimate, it's just a Chase card. The Chase IHG is, like basically the Holiday Inn card. I know for a fact it doesn't apply to the Chase Ritz-Carlton card, which I'm planning to get a couple of. So I think that you could still get that IHG and maybe the Southwest. I'm just not sure about that. I'm not an expert on Southwest because they don't fly to Huntsville, so I've not done real deep into them. But I can find out for you in the forum. I'll get you an answer for
Cool.
that. Credit score is horrible in the 500s. Any hope for me? Well, first thing you need to do before you start something like this is building your credit.
Uh-huh.
I don't have a book on that, but other people do. And I tell you, if you want to send me a message separately, I will look up. I'll be happy to look up some reputable places because there are a lot of unreputable places that promise to fix your credit. But I know a source where I can find that information with some reputable ones. And yes, you can. There is hope for you. You can definitely fix your credit and get back up there. And I think when you get into the 700s, which you ought to be able to fix that and get it back up into the 700s, then you can consider this. And in the book, I lay out things. If you're about to buy a house, don't do this right now. That things like that. You don't want a bunch of inquiries right before you're about to buy a house or something like that. But I give advice like that. I'm Canadian. Can I open an account? I keep seeing all these great offers for Canadian banks that I don't think I can open accounts for. So I don't think you can open them here.
Okay.
So there are offers in Canada. Can you still accumulate points via PayPal link to your credit card? Yes, you absolutely can. Matter of fact, some of the shopping portal points, like Discover, if they're very much, and I didn't even mention them, and they're great. When I was doing online arbitrage, man, I've told the story. Here's another story with Discover points. First, let me answer your question. Yes, you can, and Discover is one for sure that you can check out with PayPal, have that tied to your Discover card, and even if you went through the Discover portal, which they'll sometimes offer as much as 20% cash back for going through their portal, and then you pay with a PayPal that's linked to your Discover card, they'll still give you those points, which that's wonderful. It just makes the checkout even easier. And so, yeah, when I was doing online arbitrage, I used that Chase or the Discover portal a lot. And I built up a lot of Discover points to the point that Discover also will run specials on the redemptions. And they had a redemption. Let me see if I remember exactly. I think it was half off Kia gift certificates.
Okay.
So it was like you get a $50 Kia gift certificate for $25. And I think they may have gone up to like $500. So you get a $500 Kia gift certificate for $250 in your cash back points from Discover.
Uh-huh.
You couldn't just go buy them with cash. You had to have the points in your account. I actually added it up, and I had enough points to buy a car. The gift
Wow.
certificates were meant for you to get oil changes and things like that.
Uh-huh.
So I called our dealership and I said, you know, if they were familiar with the gift cards, I said, could I
Right.
use those for the purchase of a car? And he was like, we've never had anybody ask that question before.
That's awesome.
And
Oh my
so he asked his
gosh.
manager, and his manager said, and he got back with me after about 2 days, and he said, yes, I am pretty sure you can use them to buy a car, but pretty sure wasn't good enough for me.
Yep.
I didn't attempt it. Plus, there weren't any kids that I was really interested in at the time. I would have had to have gotten like the cheapest car, but it would
Right.
be a cool story to
Would
put
be a
in
great
for a
story. You'd be like the
byproduct.
pudding guy. People will be talking
I
about.
know. I almost did just for that. But
Oh
instead,
man.
those Discover points actually wound up paying for our um, another trip that we took where,
Yeah.
so we got pretty good value out of those. See, in booking the awards easy on UA for first class flights, my mom is booking tickets to Rome with 200,000 points. The travel agent told her it was complicated to use awards. Yeah, because they're a travel agent. He probably just didn't want to do it. Yeah, and he doesn't get a commission for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would like when I retire to open a travel agency for the 21st century where people book for points and they not work off commissions like those travel agents. I mean, they're getting kickbacks for those tickets they're booking for you. So I'd rather keep the discounts for myself. So yeah, they're not real fans of using points. Are United easy? I tell you, I've flown United. We flew them back from Venice, and we flew them back from Dusseldorf. So I've had pretty good luck finding United, and pretty good luck finding American. And
Hmm.
Delta's really easy to find, but they're
Hmm.
also the most expensive points. They call them Sky Pesos, the Sky
Okay.
Miles. You
Pesos. Yeah.
a Delta ticket, but you're going to pay a lot of points for it. Can you purchase another family member's ticket with points earned? Oh yeah, no problem on that.
Okay.
Please explain the 524 rule. Gosh, I'll do it offline. Well, I'll give you the short version. Basically, Chase instituted this rule about a year ago, I guess,
Uh-huh.
that says that if you've applied for more than 5 cards in the past 24 months,
Uh-huh.
we won't let you have any more cards. And they did it because people were abusing this program.
Hmm.
People not like us, people that manufacturers spend. They don't have Amazon businesses. These people go to Staples and particular places and buy gift cards and
Hmm.
flip them. And I did some of this back years ago. You used to go buy dollar coins from the U.S. Mint at face
Uh-huh.
value, and they would
Right.
FedEx those to you, and then you just go and you put them on your credit card, and then you go deposit them in the bank.
Wow.
And so you could generate spending that way. There are people that are generating $10,000 of spending a day doing stuff like that.
Oh my
Credit
gosh.
card companies don't really like you to do that. We're legit businesses. They don't have a problem with us, but we, like anything else, we get caught under these same rules that they put in place.
Hmm.
Chase's rule, I don't think is attainable. I think they're eventually going to have to back off that.
Hmm.
It's inevitable, and I've seen this swing back and forth.
Okay.
The rules American Express is a great example. When I first started doing this, their rule was one bonus for a card for lifetime,
Hmm.
and then they changed it to one per every 2 years, and then I think
Hmm.
it went down to one per year, and now they're back to one per lifetime. But it's more or less, it used to be in the entire family, but now it's just per card.
Okay.
And so it's really not too bad, and I'm not real worried about it because it'll change again, and I'll wind up
Hmm.
getting those cards again in a couple.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very competitive, and there's kind
Yeah.
of a war going on right now. I wrote about it in the blog in the
Hmm.
forum today. Chase and Citibank and U.S. Bank and American Express
Hmm.
are kind of in a battle to who has the best travel high-end card. These are the cards that cost $500 or so a year to have, and they
Wow.
load you up with benefits.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recommend anybody get them starting out, but I have most all of them myself because I'm getting value out of them. And
Yep.
if you want me to break it out, I'll show you exactly how I justify those large fees for what I get out of it.
Cool.
But you need to be traveling a lot
Mm-hmm.
to get those benefits. So just starting out, stay away from the $500 ones. Um, let's see. Again, I don't really know much about the Canada except that I could point you to a guy who writes a blog that's
Mm-hmm.
exclusive to Canadians doing
Mm-hmm.
this sort of thing. If you want to message me or something, I'll point you to him that knows more about Canada. Should
Cool.
I converting my United Chase $1 per mile to another type of card to get more travel money? Um,
Yeah, Carol just joined late, and so she wasn't sure if that was already mentioned.
yeah, if I'm United Chase, $1 per mile. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it just took me a while to understand where she was going with that. Yeah, United, it's not a bad card. You get 1 point per mile. 1 mile per dollar spent.
Okay.
And a United point is worth a rent. I pretty much rank all the airlines except for Delta as about 2 cents
Mm-hmm.
per mile is what they're worth.
Uh-huh.
So you're at that minimum that I said you always, at the very least, want to get 2% on an everyday purchase.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an okay card for that. But if you put that on one of those Chase cards, put it on
Mm-hmm.
the Chase Ultimate, for example, you'd get 1.5 Ultimate rewards that
Uh-huh.
transfer 1-to-1 to United. So you'd essentially be getting 1.5
50%
points.
more. Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah,
that's good.
there's reasons to keep that United card. For the free bags, I think they offer free bags. They may be the only one that don't offer free bags for having your credit card, come to think of it. But yeah, I would seriously consider getting the Chase Ultimate instead of that.
Okay.
Um, I'm setting up a system to track point spends, expirations. That's great. I wish I had thought to do that at the beginning. What is hard for me to get my arms around is how to track, remember all the other perks that come with each card. I have thought about writing an app to do that, Marcia. That is a great question. I was thinking about that last week. There are tools out there like a Word Wallet that will track a lot of the stuff. But I get confused when I walk in to a lounge, for instance, at an
Mm-hmm.
airport. Okay, which card is it that gets me free access? And I may have one card that gets me and 2 people into the lounge for free. And I
Uh-huh.
may have another one that gets 5 people into the lounge for free.
Wow.
Which is which. It is hard. I'm thinking that a mobile app is what you need, so that you could quickly, search and have your just a list of your cards and it tell you.
That would be
I,
awesome.
yeah, I would think that would be the best way to do it. Someone asked how to message me. You
Yeah,
can
that was the one that
email
asked
me.
about the Canada stuff.
Yeah, email me at Keith at millionairepointsclub.com. Millionairepointsclub.com is my website, and you can email. It's me. You can email Keith or Roll Tide at millionairepointsclub.com. Whatever, they'll all come to me. Um, want to be able to track which cards to take on the trip. I know. So which ones to take on the trip so you don't have to carry this on the trip every single time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. You got through all the questions.
All right.
I got another webinar in 10 minutes, so I probably should go. Guys, if you have any other questions, just email him at Keith at millionairepointsclub.com. And the link to grab the book is in the chat. And this is being recorded, so if you missed any of it, you'll get the replay if you're on here. So, Keith, thanks so much for being on here and sharing this with my audience. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for
This is
having me.
good stuff. Awesome, guys. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for spending some time with us, and we'll see you in the next webinar.